Okay, so we'll move on to our discussion. So what is the use of the fiber in this composite manufacture? Fibers are the principal constituents in the fiber reinforced composite material. Okay, so what is its role? They occupy the largest volume fraction in a composite laminate and share the major portion of the load acting on a composite structure. For example, if you see a composite may the major portion of the constituent present is the fiber. That is why it is the largest volume fraction. It will occupy more volume when compared with the matrix material. Okay, so depending upon the volume fraction of the fiber in the composite, the strength of the composite is decided. If the fiber is present more, obviously that composite will have a good strength and modulus. Okay, so proper selection of the fiber type, fiber volume fraction, fiber length, and fiber orientation, at what at what direction the fibers are aligned along the fiber axis. These things are very important characteristics of the composite laminate. So what is the role of the fiber? What all things it can give? One is the density of the fiber. Then second most important thing is the strength and modulus. The strength and modulus of a composite is decided by the fiber and not by the matrix, because matrix will just take the load and distribute the load and transmit to the fiber. It is the fiber that is going to carry the load. Then next is the compressive strength and modulus. Then fatigue strength as well as fatigue failure mechanism. When the composite is subjected to any kind of a cyclic stress or strain, immediately it is the fiber will actually carry those fatigue relief properties also. So whether if the fiber has a poor fatigue characteristics, then it may fail. So that is decided by the fiber used. Then electrical and thermal conductivity, this also is decided by the use of the fiber only. For example, if you use a fiber like a carbon which has a good electrical conductivity, that is why we use the carbon. So that property of that electrical conductivity, it is decided by the fiber and not by the matrix. And you see the thermal conductivity, whether that fiber can do the thermal conductivity, has the thermal conductivity, that is also decided by the fiber only. And next is the cost. Cost is also important, the fiber cost. For example, if you see glass fibers which has a low cost, and carbon fibers, if you see it has a high cost. So these things are the important points to be remembered when choosing the fiber type. Then functions of the fibers, as I have already told you, the main function of the fiber is to carry the load. Okay, for example, if you see in a structural composite, 70 to 90% of the load is carried by the fiber. And next is it will provide the stiffness, because the modulus is of the fiber is important. Then strength, obviously, because it carries the load. Then thermal stability, electrical conductivity, all these things or insulation, it is decided depending upon the fiber used. So what are the factors that govern the fiber contribution? One is the mechanical properties like strength, modulus, which we have seen. Then the surface interaction of the fiber and resin. Okay, so there is a phase called interface, which we have discussed in our last lecture. It is a zone across which the fiber and the resin will interact through physically or chemically or mechanically. So what type of an interface is used for what fiber? That is also an important factor. Then next is the amount of fiber in the composite. How much is the quantity of fiber you are using for a composite, whether it is a 60% or 70% or 40%. That is important. The next is the orientation. At what orientation the fibers are aligned along the fiber axis. That is important, because the tensile strength as such, it is mainly decided by the orientation. Okay, the alignment is important. So just this is an overview of what are the fibers and the properties used. We will be discussing this in detail about these fibers, like a glass, carbon, aramid, what is its diameter, density, modulus, and tensile strength, etc. You can just observe. So we will be discussing this in detail. Just for an overview, it's given. So if you see this tensile stress, tensile strain curve, you can understand why we need to use a composite. See, for example, if you just plot a tensile stress and strain curve for fiber, matrix, and composite, you see for this is for the fiber polymer matrix. Okay, so fiber means it is like a textile fiber. We are using like a high performance fiber, like a glass or carbon or aramid or polyethylene, something like that. And matrix can be any kind of a polymer matrix like a thermoset or thermoplastic. So if you observe this stress strain curve, you can see that this matrix does not provide this strength. You can see here it is just the strength. It does not provide the strength. It is highly extensible. Only the extensibility is observed here. There is no strength sharing as such. There is no strength from the composite. But whereas for the fiber, you can see it shares the major stress in the carries the major load in the fiber. But if you combine both of them, what will happen? You will get the strain, the stress strain curve around this region. So that is the advantage of this composite. When you try to mix both the fiber and the matrix, you are going to get a composite with some property, some significant property changes, along with the improvement in the strength also. See, for example, as such, the fiber has a very high strength. If you make a composite, it reduces. But still, if you see, when you mix both of them, you get a composite material that will have the strength, modulus, as well as the abrasion resistance, and the external environmental conditions attack can be prevented. There are many advantages that you get from the composite. Okay, when you use fiber alone, you may not get that advantage. You may get only the strength and modulus, and the fiber is not protected as such from the external forces. Okay, it is the matrix that actually helps to protect the fiber, and it is the matrix actually that protects from the any kind of a external forces. Okay, and the maximum service temperature is also desired by the matrix, and it is the matrix that is going to first take the load and transmit to the fiber, and fiber will ultimately carry the load. Okay, so these are the advantages why we need to use a composite. Okay, that answer comes from this tensile strain curve. You can appreciate this if you understand. So now coming down to our discussion on our topic, fibers used in the composite, you see there are various fibers that are used in the composite manufacture. One is the glass, carbon, boron, extended chain polyethylene, ceramic, Kevlar, and then polyethylene. So we will see the fibers one by one. In today's lecture, we will be discussing on glass fibers. Already you have learned about the glass fibers, so I need not explain you the glass fibers manufacture in detail, but we will have a small revision of what we have learned in the previous semester. You know very well how the glass fiber is manufactured. The raw material used is the silica. So you mix the silica and other impurities like other metal oxide or fluxing agents or fluxing ions. You mixing them, and then you melt them in the refractory furnace at a very high temperature of say around 1370 degrees centigrade. So for example, if you are adding some other impurity, normally what will happen, the melting temperature of the glass can be reduced to 700 degree centigrade. So once you do this, you can just extrude the glass fibers in a platinum bushing, and then you can draw the filaments in some particular fiber diameter, around say 10 millimeter diameter. You can draw them. Okay, something like this. This is a big glass fiber manufacturing in unit from the PPG industries, where how from the raw materials mixing and how the batch goes and how the melting take place, and how the platinum bushings, the extrusion take place through the spinner head, how the filament is coming out, and how the binder is applied and then converted. This whole set of process is given till the packaging and shipping. Okay. So if you see in this glass fiber manufacture process, the important thing which you need to know is the glass fibers are given a coating. You remember, a small coating like a size is given so that before it is wound, like a spin finish, you give a coating which is called the coupling agent. Like it will contain some mixture of lubricant, anti-static agent, and binder, everything, so that that will promote some adhesion to the fiber, so that all the filaments which are individual can join together. Okay, you promote some adhesion. So that is what you can observe here. You have already learned that. So this is how the glass fibers, when the molten glass fibers, this is how it flows, and the filaments are wound over the packages, and it is manufactured. And regarding the types of glass fibers, there are many types of glass fibers like E glass, S glass, and C glass, AR glass. All these glass material use. So the commonly used glass fibers in the fiber reinforced polymers is the E glass and S glass. Hope you know about E glass. What is E glass? It's the electrical resistant glass, and C glass is used for the chemical protection from acids or anything, and S glass is for the aircraft components, and it has the high tensile strength. And there is another advanced variation, another low cost version of glass is called S2 glass, is also available for any kind of a less stringent requirement, like a less tensile strength and modulus. You can use that S2 glass. Like that, there are very other glasses there. The basic one is the AR glass, which is the alkali resistant glass, which is the used in the window and container glasses. Okay, so glass fibers, if you see, it has many types are there, and usually if you observe the structure of the glass fiber, the internal molecular structure, it will have a 3D structure. It will contain the silicon, oxygen, and other atoms which are oriented in a random fashion. You can say that glass fiber is a isotropic fiber. It is a non-crystalline isotropic amorphous fiber. It is an amorphous solid. The glass fibers, when you mix all the ingredients like silica and other impurities and just melt them and then just extrude them, apply some binder, it will, when you cool them without getting crystallizing, it will become a solid. Okay, that is the feature of the glass fiber. Okay, so it is an amorphous, non-crystalline, and isotropic. Isotropic, you know very well, it have the same property in all the direction, unlike the normal textile material, which is a anisotropic. Okay, different properties in the different direction. So these are the constituents of E glass and S glass. For your sake of understanding, you can recall what you learned. Now coming down to glass fiber products, this is very important for our discussion. There are different glass fiber products that can be used in the composite manufacture. You can use glass fiber in the form of four or five important major groups. One is the chopped strands, another is the chopped strand mats, direct draw rovings, assembled rovings, and then mass products. We will see one by one. What is this chopped glass strand? Before going into chopped glass strand, you should know what is in by strand. Strand is the collection of parallel filaments. Okay, if you collect some parallel filaments of say 200 or more, that is called the strand. Okay, you can, how to produce chopped strands? For example, chopped strands can be, once you collect all the parallel filaments and then just chop them. Chop means cut them by continuous cutting, so that what will happen, the length of the strand will get reduced. Okay, so if you reduce the length, for example, from the higher length of the glass strands to a shorter length, then the length may range around from 3.2 to 12.7 mm. So that those strands are called the chopped glass strands, which means cut glass strands. Okay, so these strands have certain usage. This chopped glass strand, because glass fiber, it can You can use it in different forms for different composite manufacturing purpose. This chopped glass strands can be used in the injection molding. Injection molding is a type of a manufacturer which we'll discuss when we discuss about the manufacturing part. So this chopped glass strand finds application in that composite manufacture. Okay. Something like this, you can see this is how the chopped glass strands looks like. Okay, the lengthy filaments are chopped into some different lengths from 3.7 to 12.7 millimeter. Next is the chopped strand mats. Okay, so what is the difference in this? Here the longer strands which we have discussed, which is the collection of parallel filaments, or mixed with a resinous binder. You are mixing it with a resinous binder, which is a matrix material to produce a fabric, okay, like a sheet, like a 2D fabric, to form in a random manner. For example, you cut the you take the longer strands and mix it with the binder and then spread it in a two-dimensional fashion, like a fabric. You can see here like a fabric roll. So that is called the chopped strand mats. Okay, but the only thing is that the difference between the previous chopped strand and chopped strand mat is here the length is higher. You can see it is around 50.8 millimeter. Okay, so that this guy you can use it, and these mats where it can be used. For example, if you have the lengthy fibers, lengthy strands with you, this you can mix it with binder in a manufacturing process called the hand layup molding. Okay, that is another manufacturing method which we are going to see later. So that you can resin and the fiber, you can mix it so that yes, you can produce a sheet from this. So that has certain technical applications. Okay, so this is the chopped strand mats. And next is the glass rovings. What is a roving? So the difference between the roving and the strand is, roving is a group of untwisted parallel strands. Okay, it is a untwisted parallel strands. It will be parallel and very high length it will be. So it will have a, not like a particular defined length, it will have a very high length will be there for the roving. So these rovings, like a normal package, if you see like a cheese or a cone, you can continuously you can wind them, these untwisted parallel strands over the bobbin, so that these are called the rovings. So these rovings also find application in certain manufacturing process like a filament winding or pultrusion. Whichever application or the manufacturing involves the continuous supply of the fiber. Okay, it is like, for example, if you have only 300 grams of the chopped strand fibers, you can use only that. But whereas if you want a continuous supply, for example, if you want to supply around several length, like a 2 kilometers of filaments, if you want to continuously supply to a manufacturing, that manufacturing process requires the use of such continuous supply of fibers, then in that case, those kind of a lengthy strand, like a roving, should be used. So which process involve that? It is the filament winding and the pultrusion. Those processes require this kind of a package, okay, which is a cylindrical package, which is called the roving. Next is the glass prepregs. So what is this prepreg? That you need to understand. One of the interesting application in the composites, it is not only glass, it is there for other fibers also. Just to see what is meant by prepreg. So prepreg means pre-impregnated fibers. Okay, there is a fiber, there is a matrix, you just impregnate them, okay, and then just cover them with a polythene sheet. Okay, so when you require, you can just peel them. You can just peel them, so that what will happen, the matrix whichever is used, it will not completely get cured. The matrix and the fiber a matrix will be in a semi-cured state. You understand? It will be in a semi-cured state, so that what will happen once you have a pre-preg fabric, which is a pre-impregnate with the resin matrix, and if you have some sheets like this, you can arrange these sheets and then again you can do the curing, so that whichever it is in the semi-cured state, that will get cured. Cured in the sense it will get bonded. It will, the three-dimensional network will form, so that you can make a composite. Only difference in this pre-preg and other previous strands or other things which we have discussed is, in other type of chopped strands or anything, we do not mix with the fiber and then make it ready. But here in the pre-pregs, we take the fiber in the form of a roving or any kind of a thing, and then we mix it with the matrix and keep it in a semi-cured state. What is meant by semi-cured state? Semi-cured state means it is the partially cured, which means it has the scope for further curing. Okay, so if you completely cure them, what will happen? You cannot, it will become like a, if you are using a thermoset kind of a polymer, if you cure them, what will happen completely? If you cure them, then it will become a solid, so that that can only degrade after you apply further heat. But whereas in this one, you keep the matrix, after applying the matrix, you keep the composite in a semi-cured state. Okay, so that has further scope of curing. Okay, so that you need to understand, that we will see. So these pre-pregs can be cut in the required dimension. You can arrange them and then cure to final shape. If I have some 5 different pieces of pre-pregs fabric like this, I can arrange them in different layers depending upon what is the requirement I need, and then I can do a process like a hand molding or compression molding and then make a composite. Okay, so that you need to know. Next is the woven roving. What is this woven roving? So very simple. Where it is like a normal textile material, the continuous rovings are woven in the warp and weft like a normal weaving which you perform, so that you make a woven roving, which is like a woven cloth. Okay, it has a drapable fabric, so that warp and weft you can make a normal woven fabric. This also is a part of glass fiber product. Then next is the glass woven cloth. This is also, for example, if you are using the same type of a roving, twist them, use a twisted, make a twisted type of a roving, and then like a ring frame where you twist the yarn and then use the twisted strand and then make a fabric in the warp and weft device like a normal textile fabric. That is also possible, so that you make a glass woven cloth. Okay, so those glass cloth, you can bind this with some chopped strand mats to produce a woven or roving mat. You can take the normal woven cloth which you have produced with the twisted roving. Using the twisted roving, you have produced a woven cloth. You can add a layer of chopped strand mats to produce a woven roving mat, which you have seen. And this also can be used in the hand layup or the liquid composite molding process. Okay, something like this. Okay, you have the one is the normal woven cloth where the yarns are made up of the twisted rovings, and over this you can add the CSM, which is the chopped strand mats, to produce a woven roving mat. This also can be used in the process like hand layup molding and the liquid composite molding. Next is the milled glass fibers. So from the word milled, you can understand what is meant by milled. Milled means something like grinding. Okay, it's a grinding. So you have the glass fibers with you, you grind them into something like a powder, so that the size of the diameter of the strand will get very much reduced. The length also will get reduced to range from say 0.79 to 3.2 millimeter. So it will become like a powder. So this also finds use in the composite manufacture, but it do not possess any significant reinforcement value. Okay, because you see, for the composite manufacture, we require certain fiber length. Okay, some minimum fiber length is required because it is the fiber that is going to carry the load. So the minimum fiber length should be there. That is called the critical fiber length. If the fiber length is not sufficient enough, and if the fiber length is very much less than the critical fiber length, then in that case it is not going to give the strength. Okay, so it is used in the plastic industry. So there are various types of glass fiber products that are used. And finally, what are the advantages of glass fibers? One is the important advantage is the low cost, because the raw material used or the naturally available mineral which is available in plenty. So this is a low cost fiber. And next, it has a high tensile strength. And when you compare tensile strength, in the sense, when you compare it with the other natural fibers, it has a definitely a better tensile strength. And another important thing is high chemical resistance. And the important thing is excellent insulating property. It is a good, glass is a good insulator. That is why it is used in some optical fiber communication, like cable, wires, everything. These glass fibers find application. But despite that, there are some disadvantages also. One is that it has a low tensile modulus. The tensile modulus may be higher than other natural fibers, but when you compare it with some high performance fiber like aramid or carbon, it has a low tensile modulus. And when you see another disadvantage, it has a high density. Okay, when compared with steel, it has a less density, but when compared with other high performance fibers, it has a high density. Okay, like commercial fibers. And another thing is, it is highly sensitive to abrasion. Okay, so if any kind of an abrasion is given, this fiber strength will get reduced. That is why in any kind of a process where there is a abrasion is there, like a cutting tool or a molding dies, wherever it is used, because of the high density and hardness, if it undergoes abrasion, the strength will start reducing. That is a disadvantage. And the next is the relatively low fatigue resistance. When it undergoes any kind of cyclic loading and unloading, it may lead to fatigue failure. Okay, so just I will go back to one table which I've shown you at the beginning of our discussion. So just to see here, you can understand, just to make a comparison of the tensile modulus of this glass with carbon, aramid fibers. You can see the tensile modulus of the glass is less when you compare it with the other fibers. All the other fibers have a higher tensile modulus. And strength also, if you see, strength of the S glass is definitely higher when you compare it with even carbon and or aramid. But the modulus, if you see, the modulus is lesser. Okay, because in the composite manufacturer, both the strength and modulus are expected to be higher. The modulus is more important. Okay, so these things you need to understand. And another thing is called the strain to failure. You can see the strain to failure is higher for glass fiber. That is another advantage. The strain percentage, it can withstand more strain before it undergoes a failure. So that is an advantage when compared with the glass fiber. And another thing is this coefficient of thermal expansion. You know what is meant by coefficient of thermal expansion? When you apply some temperature over a material, if the material undergoes some change in the shape, change in the dimension, that is called the coefficient of thermal expansion. It is very high for steel. For example, if there is a steel, I can show it to you, but it's not available. Steel has a very high coefficient of thermal expansion, but whereas for glass also, it is higher only. Okay, so in the case what the dimensional stability of the glass is not that higher when you compare it with other fibers like carbon, aramid, or other fibers like boron or etc. So these are the different properties which you need to know for the what is the advantage and disadvantage of the glass fiber. Okay, so that's all about the glass fibers. So in our next lecture, we will be further moving on to other high performance fibers that is used in the manufacturing of composites. So far glass fiber is concerned, you should know the basics, how to manufacture that in a very basic level, because this course exclusively deal with the composite part. You should know a little about what is how to manufacture them, and its types of the glass fibers, and what are the different forms of glass fibers that are used in the composite manufacture, and what is its advantage and disadvantage. And apart from that, the role of the fiber. What is the role of the fiber in the composite manufacture? That is stress strain curve. These things are important to know. So in our next lecture, we will be further moving on to the next type of a fiber we will discuss. So I stopping here for today. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.